God's blessings to everyone. This is a DGHradio.com news and information news update for the British Virgin Islands, and I'm reporter EVH reporting the news for Thursday, October 9th, 2025, covering the latest developments from across the British Virgin Islands. The Premier's push for greater self-government took center stage this week. In remarks tied to his appearance before the United Nations Fourth Committee, he said the Virgin Islands has strengthened its institutions since major reforms and is prepared to assume more responsibility for internal affairs. Government says the next phase is broad community engagement ahead of constitutional talks with the United Kingdom, with plain language explainers promised so residents can weigh the opportunities and risks of change. Related to that agenda, the Premier also asked the international community for practical help, technical assistance, and funding to expand public education on self-determination and to support constitutional drafting when discussions with London begin. Officials maintain that any significant change would return to the people for consent, either via a referendum or a general election fought on the issue. The message from Roadtown: devolution of powers and accountability can progress together, but only with clear public mandates. At home, questions about economic stewardship and oversight remain front and center. Leaders have criticized what they describe as heavy-handed UK involvement in areas that directly affect growth, things like borrowing rules and approvals for major projects. They argue safeguards should protect the public purse without micromanaging decisions that voters expect their elected cabinet to make. Business groups, meanwhile, are urging clarity on the rules so investment decisions aren't stuck in limbo. Civic groups are also mobilizing the public. A territory-wide listening drive is underway to collect feedback on recommendations from the Constitutional Review Commission. Organizers plan forums, small group meetings, and digital surveys on every major island, with a focus on the balance of powers, integrity systems, and how to face changes responsibly. They say negotiators are strongest when they carry a mandate shaped by residents across generations and backgrounds. On cost of living and fairness in government pay, the Premier has apologized to retired public servants for being left out of recent salary adjustments awarded to active employees. He pledged to fix the omission in the upcoming budget and said options, including cost of living reviews tied to inflation, are being examined. Retiree advocates welcome the apology, but want a durable plan that protects purchasing power and dignity in retirement. That episode unfolded as a quieter protest rippled through Public Service Week events, where some civil servants appeared in black attire amid lingering frustration over legislators' salary increases that were approved late last year and only recently disclosed. Managers urged continued professionalism while promising more transparent discussions on compensation going forward. Unions and analysts alike are calling for routine, data-driven reviews to prevent future flashpoints. Also back in the spotlight, post-term payments for lawmakers under the Retiring Allowances Law. The Premier has indicated members should decide at the end of their service whether to accept those benefits. Supporters say individual circumstances vary. Critics counter that promises of restraint matter and that clear published rules are essential to rebuild trust. Expect this debate to remain intertwined with broader governance reforms. Public safety. The government has hired external specialists to help craft a territory-wide anti-crime strategy. The remit includes hotspot mapping, fixing case flow bottlenecks from arrest to trial, and setting measurable milestones for prevention, enforcement, and rehabilitation. Authorities say public input will be crucial, so the plan reflects what communities are actually experiencing in their neighborhoods. Those experiences have been jarring. Police confirmed gunfire outside a bar in Bars Bay late Tuesday, sending patrons scrambling but causing no reported injuries. Later that night in Myers Estate, a masked intruder armed with a firearm attempted to force his way into a home before fleeing as occupants called police. Extra patrols and checkpoints have followed, and investigators continue to appeal for information. No detail is too small. Policy responses are sharpening. The acting commissioner has reiterated that issuing civilian firearm licenses remains an option of last resort under the territory's strict regime. And the Premier, while acknowledging fears among business owners, has cautioned that approvals are highly unlikely given governing policies and UK-influenced oversight. Instead, the emphasis is on better policing, technology, lighting, and rapid response capability, alongside youth interventions to address root causes. On the economic and community front, agriculture and fisheries stakeholders met with the Premier's office to chart a more resilient path for food production. Proposals include climate-smart crops, cold chain upgrades, cooperative marketing, and youth apprenticeships to refresh aging workforces. The aim is to reduce import dependence, stabilize prices, and capture more value locally from farm and sea. For storm resilience at the household level, residents and small businesses now have access to parametric windstorm coverage, policies that pay out quickly when predefined weather thresholds are met. This model can speed recovery after severe winds without lengthy adjuster visits, offering a financial buffer in the critical first days after a storm. Culture and education notes. The world's largest floating book fair, Logos Hope, is scheduled to dock in Road Town from Thursday, October 24th through Monday, October 28th, bringing thousands of affordable titles and onboard activities. The Ministry of Education is coordinating school visits to spark reading and curiosity. In addition, Education Minister Shari B. DeCastro has kicked off her annual week-long school tour, meeting students and teachers across the territory to hear concerns firsthand and to spotlight goals in literacy, digital skills, and student well-being. In a resilience milestone, 13 public schools have earned the Smart Schools designation, recognition for safer facilities, strong emergency readiness, and greener daily operations. The multi-year effort, led by the Department of Disaster Management with education and NGO partners, channels cost savings from efficiency into learning and strengthens continuity when hazards strike. Weather Watch. The Department of Disaster Management advises that Tropical Storm Jerry is forecast to intensify and pass northeast of the territory by Friday, with gusty winds, rough seas, and squalls possible. Residents are urged to secure loose items, review plans, and monitor official channels for updates. Finally, a note of remembrance. The government will host an official celebration of life next Wednesday, October 15th, honoring the late Dr. Robert A. Mathavius, OBE, for 6 decades of service in education and public life. The territory invites all who were touched by his leadership and mentorship to pay their respects. These and other issues are of great concern within the islands. What do you think are some good solutions? Let us know your thoughts by texting your comments to 1-315-898-1449. You can also join our WhatsApp group and get the news, weather, and other insightful information delivered right to your smartphone. To join, text JOIN to 1-315-898-1449. Please include your name in the text message. You will receive a call to verify your request. I'm your reporter, EVH, signing off for DGHradio.com. Remember, EVH and DGH, together we explain, verify, and highlight as we deliver global headlines because on DGHradio.com, the news never sleeps. Wow. Ciao.